always wins. Just the way it is. We come from the source, and the source always wins. Always. Because the source knows what it's doing. It has been. Okay. So it's a way of showing, making you understand the worldview you're in. So you don't judge people. You don't judge situations. But today, really, what I want to focus on is, certainly in the early stages, is how do we shift this timeline? Because it's now a timeline. So remember a few months ago, I spoke about timelines, that you make a choice, and depending on the choice you make, there are events that follow it. Yeah, it's just the way it is. I make a choice to go and get some petrol and happen to come across some police who say to me, where are you going? Well, how much petrol do you have? I've got half a tank. Don't think it's essential, mate. Right? And all of a sudden, other people are dictating how you live life. Be a choice. Another choice could be that you don't take this road, you take another road. Choice. Not necessarily knowing what the consequences are. So, how do we change a timeline? Well, if we begin to think in similar ways, based on our experience, not based on what we're hearing, based on our experience, if we begin to imbibe that as a way of being, then we begin to create a collective space. Consciousness, the way all of what we are, who we are, etc., really is just a process of awakening. It's a process of just getting a better perspective on your experience of life. Because your experience of life is just this moment. That's all there is. And your experience of life is important to recognize that your experience of life is unique and priceless. It's priceless. Can't buy it anywhere. Your thinking, your way of being, your seeing, your eyes, your ears, everything is functioning. And you're here amongst 8 billion people. So you can see now how things are being shifted. So a few months ago, we started seeing censorship in all the social media, various other places. And if you knew where you were looking, you could see it's just like a purge. Now you have media that decide who wins and who loses. It's the media. And any other narrative is condemned, is criticized, it's insulted. Doesn't matter who it is. I'm apolitical. I couldn't care less. But you've got to call out what's out there. If you see it, you can't unsee it. And what this does is it makes people think, group think. You never think outside because everyone's talking the same. This is where you get these really destructive religions. No difference between political parties and that stuff. When you begin to think in a very narrow way, nothing can question it. And you don't question it because you're afraid that you will be criticized, you'll be insulted, you would be assaulted, you would be ostracized. Then you just begin to think in one way. And this is the danger now. This is the danger now. Now, where are you? Because it really matters. It really does matter. Not for you, for humanity. Because it's a global thing going on. Whether you see it or not makes no difference. But there is a shift. You know right now, you're imprisoned in homes. If you go out and you find, as Sylvia's just shared with me, and you found not to be buying essential goods, your insurance is invalidated. So exactly. So do you see how everything is just being squeezed? And we said, this is where it's going. And it's going to squeeze a bit more. It's going to get a bit worse before it gets better. But trust me, it will get better. It is getting better. And this revelation, and that's all that's happening. It's a revelation. We're seeing it in front of us. But to see it and deny it is as bad as being part of it. We have to call ourselves out. Am I part of this? Do I consent to this or not? Well, no, I don't. I don't. Free thinking is important. Free thinking is what it means to be human. Doesn't mean you lose anything. In fact, you gain so much. But if I can make you think in one particular way, pretty much sold it. And religions do that. Politics do that. Group things do that. In Hartlepool, many years ago, there was a monkey on a ship that came off. And the groupthink was, it's a spy. So they chased it down the streets, caught it and hung it. Groupthink. Groupthink. Where you lose your understanding. You lose it. No critical thinking. We're there. In this moment, it's important to realize what you consent to and what you don't. Don't consent to something, make it clear to yourself. Don't have to tell the world, I see it, calling it out. And that changes where you're at. And that's all you need. Look, doesn't take much to burn a forest. Just one spark. The important thing is not the spark. The spark is critical. But then it's to keep it going. Well, all the winds are blowing. That's your spark. That's where we're at. So important to recognize things are not the way they seem. Absolutely not. You cannot trust, and this will become apparent over the next few months. You cannot trust what the mainstream media is now telling us. First, we could suspect it. But now, you know it. Can't trust it. Can't trust it. Facts mixed with fiction. Can't trust it anymore. Can't trust the science. The fact that it has a label science doesn't mean it's followed a scientific, rigorous approach. It's you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. This kind of stuff is now just becoming more and more apparent. And as it becomes apparent, it will fall. Because you will turn your back to it. But it's important to know that there are many, many, many in total darkness. Because humanity is in darkness. This is our ignorance. Our ignorance it's in front of us, like Jimmy Savile was. We all knew he was a bit funny. No one dresses like that. Do you know what I mean? I remember my mother saying, first time she saw him, she goes, on TV, she goes, something ain't right with him. Just like that. Because you know. But we knew, like we've had so much other stuff. We know, but we can't just choose to just leave it. No, not part of that anymore. Cannot consent to it. Either you do or you don't. There's just no gray area anymore. The system can work provided we have ethical people, not self-serving people. Whenever we do something, the question we should ask ourselves is, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? What do I get out of this? Do I make a buck out of this? Is my energy, 1 hour's energy, put on Facebook, the same as an energy put in growing something. What's the return on investment here? And you begin to realize that when you question yourself, why am I doing something? You realize most of the time we do it for pretty superficial reasons. Pretty superficial, meaningless really, in many ways, and sometimes quite petty, whatever it is. Yeah. So in self-reflecting ourselves, we become more and more transparent, and that's what it means to be truthful. To be transparent to yourself as best as you can. As best as you can. So we're approaching now kind of middle of the month, and so, as you can see, things have just gone a bit insane, right? With America, it's gone absolutely insane. And you can see divisions becoming more and more defined. Why are some businesses essential and some not? It may be to someone who it's essential to pay their mortgage or rent. Who determines that? There is a level of, I think it's total confusion. And that confusion, in some ways, may even be purposeful, because it makes you go within. You can't work out what's going on. Fear-based. Just think about it. We've had chicken flu, bird flu, swine flu, SARS, Ebola, HIV, AIDS. Every few years, a new one comes up. Has humanity lost half of itself? No. But we don't see it because it's done incrementally. And that's what it means to just use critical thinking. Just say, what kind of life do I want? Is this the life I want where I can't go anywhere? It's hard to get your freedom back if you've lost it. It's hard. It's hard. Important to recognize that now. Yeah, you've free life. Pretty free compared to a lot of them. Trust me. Some places are rough. Yeah. And this is going there. And it's a bunch of idiots doing it. That's the other thing. A bunch of self-serving idiots.
What's the end game then?
Depends how much what they're after. It's always about money, power, status. Or blackmail. Good, like many of them have. The others hold you for ransom. We all know what Epstein was about. In order to rebalance, you have to see what's holding you. And all this that's happening is making it come up. It's making it visible. And because it's coming visible, you will make a decision to say, hey, I don't want that. I still want an organized life, but not with self-serving people. Not with this stuff. I need people who are ethical. Let's not judge people by the money and privilege they're born in. Let's judge them with wisdom. We judge them because of their titles and their money. But no wisdom. Where there is no wisdom. It's a claim. Wisdom is in a pandemic or any kind of critical pathogen. Work on your immunity first. That's wisdom. Not cover healthy people, quarantine healthy people, get them to put masks on, can't hug anyone, can't meet anyone. You've got to ask yourself the question, is that wisdom or stupidity? And using this word called science. It was like using the word God back in the day. That's all it is. They just replaced the word God with the word, it's same structure. The churches are the banks. You should see all the banks. Big, huge pillars. It's like you're going into a church, into a temple. Shifted everything. That's all it is. Just created temples where where we worship money. That's the sad part of life. But it's okay. So that's the good news is everything's going in the right direction. Fantastic. The bad news is that as some of this dirt, well, not as some, as more and more dirt becomes apparent, some of the structures, belief systems, we were talked about that a few weeks back, will crumble. And that creates a lot of anxiety, creates stress, because we want to hold on to a structure or normality. No, normality is not the way we think it was, or is it going to be like this either? This ain't going to remain either. However, one thing that we can do to make it either quicker or longer is simply adjust ourselves. If we adjust ourselves, it's a bit quicker. Having said that, we're going to go through a little bit of ups and downs. But from tomorrow, from what I understand, yes, from tomorrow, 13th, things begin to change. Right? So remember, everything goes up and down. Everything. So things have gone up. Now they begin to come down. Maybe a slow gradient, but it's going to come down. What does that mean? That means a lot more revelation. The darkness that we're in, we're going to have to see what's in front of us. We may not want to believe that because it is just some of it's just so out there, but just have an open mind. When you have enough evidence, but you cannot trust the mainstream media anymore. And they've demonstrated that through what they did with last week's elections. Media doesn't call things. Media announces things. There's a big difference. And when you have a coordinated event and you dig a bit deeper, you realize, interesting. So, as the media has taken this step, it's exposed its hand. Where you fit in, who owns whom? Because that's all it's about. Who owns whom? Don't think they're all separate. They're just groups. And all of them influence the worldview. Without critical thinking, without being able to move outside your box, you're trapped. And that's what's going on at the moment. Either taking the timeline in this direction or in this direction. It's going to go in this direction. It's just either it will be slower or faster. So our assumptions are that from the 13th, things begin to shift. And as more and more revelation comes up, things will change in America. What we see today is going to change again. More and more people are becoming disruptive. More and more people are starting to realize that all these lockdowns are having huge impact socially, mental health, and I want to just speak about that for a few moments as well. Relations, work, loss of job, and now you've got no idea of being able to celebrate Christmas. All of these things just taken away like that. So there are some people who are saying enough is enough. And that's where we're all going to get to, where we say, no, I don't think this works. Let's look at it from another point of view. This does not work. And when you use force to enforce, it's in the language. You're always being told what's happening to you. When you are enforced, I'm no longer a policeman. I'm an enforcement authority. I enforce what I've been told to enforce. I don't work for you anymore. So you just notice the change in language, change in authority, and it's an enforcement. I think they used to do this back in what? World War II, prior to it kicking off. Depending on which side you belonged, either you could go out or not. What's the difference? What's the difference? And we said we would never let it happen again. And yesterday was Remembrance Day. The only way to remember that is to stand up to tyranny and oppression today. Only way to remember them. What's the point of saying, yeah, you did a great job, but it's okay, we're going back to it. Thanks for sacrificing yourselves. But we're offended if someone talks to us now. Where is humanity? What have we become? And the generations in front of me, man, you have become so fragile. Live in virtual worlds, so fragile. But you're in a place where technology can be used for the benefit of humanity, not for the benefit of control. That's where we are going. So we reckon by December, we will have a shift in politics in the States from where it is now, or what's being proposed at the moment. Why? Because that which isn't working has to be exposed. And that's why it's going to work. Not for this politics or that politics. That's everyone, every one of us, even ourselves. That which doesn't work for us is going to come up. And we're going to have to deal with it. Right? In silence, this is why we go into the silence, because in silence, you can do that. It comes up, plays a little role. Let's see it as a play. And as you do that, you overcome it. You don't get too engaged in it. So cultivating silence is important. The shift between now and around December, between now and the middle of December, is going to bring a lot of this kind of shenanigans of managing worldview out, how to think out. And that will create a lot of difficulties in individuals who have particular belief systems, doesn't matter what they are. The other thing I want to talk about was the impact now we're seeing on young people and level of self-harm. And it seems to be, from what we're hearing, almost like a trend with some. And this should worry us all. This should worry us all. And so what we're doing we hope by the end of this month, we're bringing together about 8 professionals, psychologists, psychotherapists, who specialize with children and parents. And we're going to try and do an event, a Zoom event, free of charge, that can provide practical support, practical solutions to saying, look, if you've got this going on, or if you've got that going on, these are the options you can have. Self-help, but also where you can get professional help. So we will announce the individuals that we have on board after we've met with them on next few days. But again, it's why are we doing it? That's a good question. Why are they all doing it? Because there's a need. What does it give us? Pretty much nothing. What does it take away from us? Well, maybe an hour or 2 of our lives. But the question is, why are you doing it?
Can I just say, like the children's charities, if you go onto their site, and this is information that's coming from parents whose children are self-harming, when you go onto these charitable organisation websites, their solution is referring you to, or referring the parent to the GP. You can't get into the GP. And to make an appointment to talk to a GP, it's a joke. You can't. And that's charitable organisations that deal with children get billions and billions of pounds. And their solution, go to your GP.
We can all help ourselves. We can all help ourselves, but collectively, we can all help each other. Right? It's easy for us to say, oh, we don't want to have this on a Thursday evening. I'd rather be at home eating my curry and watching a Bollywood. Not that I do that. I just thought I'd go down the stereotype. Change the energy. You know?
I knew when he said that, he's just shifting the energy.
Change
He
the
said
energy.
that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's why, because collectively we can actually do something of value. We can do something of value. And individually we can do it too. So we'll keep this going as long as we can. And allow people to share. And your support, like, we cannot say enough thank you, because that's allowed us to recognize there's a need for it, but also that something that we're doing is of value, you know? So the question always is, why are you doing it? Yeah, obviously, good karma. Not with the things I've done in my life. I'm ruined, mate. I am ruined. Anyway, so let's go on with our meditation. Unless someone wants to add anything or say anything. No? All good? All right. Thank you very much. Okay. So again, silence, silence, silence. That's important now. Sit in your silence as much as possible. So closing your eyes, so feet firmly on the ground. Back is straight and upright. And the back is really important, because without the back being straight, meditation, all the yoga that we do is only so we can have the right meditation posture. So the back being straight is a really important element of it. And your eyes are gently closed. If you're okay with that, if you feel uncomfortable, you can look towards the ground. Your mouth is closed unless you can't breathe through your nose. And as you breathe in, bring your focus to yourself. And what does that mean? That means first, begin to sense your body. Begin to sense your body. Begin to notice that you can sense different parts of your body. So you can sense your legs, or you can sense the whole of your body. So you're not imagining it, you're not thinking about it, you're not trying to visualize it, you're simply sensing it. You're aware of it. Next, as you breathe in again, your next breath in, bring your focus to your chair and notice where your body makes contact with the chair. There are some sensations there within your body. So begin to notice that. And as you breathe in, next breath in, bring this focus towards your hips. So you become aware of your hips. You can sense your hips. And then from your hips, as you breathe out, allow this awareness to gently drift down your thighs. And you can do it over 2 or 3 breaths if you want. So you're trying to have a good, recognize what's going on with your body. When you get to your knees, next breath out, move your focus down towards your ankles. And then from your ankles, move your focus down to your feet. And see if you can notice the floor beneath your feet. Or if you can notice your soles. Just try and hold your focus there for a few moments. Come back to the chair that you're sitting on. And take a moment to notice how well you are held in place. In fact, how grounded you are. So you're grounded, you're surrounded by the space that you're in. You can only breathe the air that's in front of you. And you can only know what's going on around you within yourself. You can only be on the ground that's beneath you. So, in other words, you're embedded. As you breathe in, bring your focus to your lower back. Next breath in, take it up to your middle back. And just hold it there for a moment. Notice as your breath comes in, there are sensations in the middle of your back and even to the side, and even the chest itself. There are sensations that you can detect. And there is movement. See if you can notice that. Bring your focus up towards your shoulder blades. Notice your shoulders. As you breathe out, bring your focus down towards your elbows. As you breathe out, move it down to your wrists. And then bring your focus to the palms of your hands. And hold it there if you can. Move your focus to your fingers. Become aware of your eyes. Allow your eyes to soften. Notice the darkness. The ability to notice is your awareness. That is who you are. You are not the darkness, but the awareness that can see the darkness. Move your focus to your tongue. Allow it to relax and soften. Notice the sensations on the roof of your mouth. Relax your face. Bringing your focus just beneath your nose. Begin to notice your breath. Your focus should be just beneath your nose, holding it there with a little bit of effort. With a commitment to watch the breath. Allow the breath to breathe by itself. Notice that the in-breath has a start and an end. Notice that the out-breath has a start and an end. Stay with your breath. Allow your breath to breathe by itself, watching the in-breath coming in from the start till the end, watching the out-breath from the start till the end. On your next breath out, begin to follow the out-breath all the way till the end. And now if you bring your focus to the sound of your breath. Does your in-breath sound the same as your out-breath? Stay with your breath. Now as the breath comes in, mentally you want to say the sound Vahe, and as the breath goes out, you want to say the sound Guru. So as the breath comes in your mind, it's Vahe. As the breath goes out, it's Guru. And all you do is simply synchronize the sound as you listen to the Vahe with your breath. Vahe on the breath in, Guru on the breath out. Listening to it as you recite it within your mind. Now very gently bring the sound to your tongue. And very gently saying to yourself, Vahe as you breathe in, Guru as you breathe out. But you can feel the air on your tongue. Now we begin to increase the volume a little bit. Vahe Guru, 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 Vahe Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Begin to lower the volume. Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Synchronizing it with your breath when you're ready. Saying it within yourself and listening to it. Stay with the sound. Slowly allowing the sound to reduce its volume within you. Lower. Lower. So all that remains is just listening. Just the listening. Following the sound, just listening. Just listening. Not listening to any particular thing, just listening. Notice the silence. In silence, there is strength. In silence, there is security. In silence, there is healing. In silence, we receive without asking. And in silence, we know the truth. Gently bringing your focus just beneath your nose. And just sit with your breath. No recitation. Allowing your breath to breathe by itself. Stay with your breath. On your next breath out, expanding your awareness, becoming aware of your whole body as best as you can. Notice the chair still holds you and supports you. Notice the sensations where the chair makes contact with your body. Notice you can sense your thighs, your knees, all the way down to your ankles. And you can sense your feet and the soles of your feet. Your back is still straight and upright. Your shoulders, arms, hands are relaxed. Eyes are closed, mouth is closed, face is relaxed. Sitting with your breath. The mind is still, the body is still. Breathing in, you can sense your body. Breathing out, you can sense your body. Breathing in, you can sense your body. Breathing out, you can sense your body. When you hear the next bell, use this bell to draw a few deep breaths in, bringing some of that silence and peace back with you. And in your own good time, opening your eyes. Take your time. Okay. Everyone back? Thank you very much. Be safe. Look after yourselves. And keep it together. Fateh. Excellent. And hopefully we'll see you next week, yeah?